What was the name of the ship?
On the back. Nobody will question you. What do you two got going on?
We heard Hope.
Hope?
Hope?
Wouldn't be the first time I've heard that over here.
Yeah. That was to what were the parents' names, and we got nothing for the ship.
Okay.
It's like silent.
He's getting a lot of N's. He's got that SH, and Haley did get the hair color correct answer. So, and it's a rarity to see that, like, because it's red. Like, in order for it to go red, something has to be touching the antenna. That's the highest reading. So again, she said she got it several times. I didn't see it, but of course, you know, I have to. She didn't know that it was red.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Wow.
Actually, I want to show you something with that camera. Let's head over to this wall. I'm also trying to stay out of the way of all these people coming out to their cars.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said, let's go hang over here for a second. Yeah.
Second night I got that upgrade to that camera. Right where I'm standing now, we caught one of the best orbs I have ever seen. So you're gonna look behind, that's me. Obviously we're standing right at the powder magazine. You're gonna watch right here. I slowed the video down so I could study it.
Oh, right there.
I mean, it doesn't get any more clear than that.
Yeah.
And I normally look for like the size of it, the speed, the direction, because obviously we get a lot of insects in there. They just light up like lightning bugs.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to say, oh my God, there's an orb. But I need something that's going to either show up in the frame that doesn't come from the outside of it, or disappear in the frame. And normally, like, that's one of the biggest criteria that I have when I'm going through it is like, did it disappear in the frame or did it go outside the frame? So if it's like just a white streak that comes all the way across, it's a bug. You know what I mean? So if something comes in and it's got some sizable shape to it, like that was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it was kind of floating. Like it wasn't
I did slow it down.
Oh, okay.
So I could see it. Like that is a slowed down version of it, but it was still slow enough where it was like pretty creepy just coming in and then it stopped and went up. And I was like, oh shit, are you kidding me? It's wild.
That's cool.
But that's what I do. I dig for stuff and that's what I'm looking for. I wish the moon was showing up. Normally when we have a full moon, it's like right next to it. But I didn't even see where the moon was tonight. I think I lost David and his whole family. I don't see him anywhere.
They went to the cemetery.
Yeah. Normally when I give you guys free reign, like I'm like, all right, where the hell did everybody go?
Right. You need like a walkie-talkie or something. You want to go out and around? Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the other tours, they usually tell stories in the front.
Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. What were Anne's parents' names? I heard Ursula. I don't know, I think like something is... Yeah, like the whole
It's
thing.
good to do with like a bonfire.
And what was the name of the ship? What was the name of the ship? What were Anne's parents' names? Leslie? Leslie Ursula Hope. After a while, it's just like static.
Yeah.
I liked it when they said you need to start relaxing.
Yeah.
That was funny.
To the right.
To the right.
Fortune.
What do you say?
Fortune.
Fortune. That could be a ship name. Oh.
Part of the reason why I have you guys stay away from the other doors is
Just ask what we were kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Probably quiet around them.
Alright, what else have we heard? We got anything else crazy I need to know about?
Fortune.
Fortune.
Ursula.
Wow.
That was random.
Completely.
Oh, shit. Mom asked the name of what she was that Calico Jack.
Yeah. And it came to mind, it's the Joshua ship.
Joshua shit?
Yeah. What's that name?
Huh.
I don't know who
And
Joshua
it said weather and where when I said that too.
but you do have the word shit. Okay.
I got a KO, like boom boom, when we were looking at the sign.
The knockout. I just think I'm still more impressed with the SH showing up right at the back. That was pretty badass. I mean, that was almost on cue. And again, I don't always tell the Sioux story, so it's a matter of like, you guys seem like you're a fun group. Let's throw an extra one in there. We did get the answer directly on Haley's device of what color Ann Bonnie's hair was. It was indeed red, and I will tell you that the only way to get red, keep holding it out, is to touch the antenna. It is the highest reading you can get on there. The only time I've ever seen that thing go to red on command is when we've been here asking about Ann's hair color, and the first time was by mistake because I was trying to get an answer. Actually, it was out of yours. So I was trying to get an answer out of that one because it's a simple one-syllable term. So again, and the answer came up there. So I keep testing it and keep getting it. So let's go through the very simple answers of the questions that I gave you. For those of you with cameras, go ahead and stop them. Go have the baby. Come back later. We'll figure it out later. So, she goes and has a baby, but returns with no child. We have no idea what happened to the baby. There's no record of it anywhere. She's also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. And while she was away giving birth to Jack's baby, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. Ann's gonna go flirting, because that's what Ann does. She's trying to make him even more mad. Guy number 3. The guy she's flirting with turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females, dressed like males, on the same ship, trying to be pirates. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate, by the way. The name Mark has been showing out here more and more. But her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for sure. But the British find out where they are, and they send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. What was it?
X.
We actually had X-Dig show up here a few nights ago. I was really like, okay, that's kind of weird, but we'll take it. But the British come and try to take them out, and Ann and Mary are the only 2 pirates that are, not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. They don't know how to use the cannons yet, is my guess. So, obviously they're going to get taken and get arrested. The British are arresting them, and Ann looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog will show up here quite often. the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. That's the second Nick. So he wants to see the two men that fought back so violently on their own after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. The two ladies go in front of the judge, reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They were hoping to save themselves. He's still going to hang them. But we plead our bellies, was the last thing they said, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail. Delays the hanging. Dad is still here in the Charleston area. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary, has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know after her pirate career. Very, very vague. As far as Mary Read goes, she died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most articles will tell you that it was fever, but it was probably scurvious and bumpy and gross and whatever else you guys want to come up with. It's a pirate story, animated. Now, spirit boxes, I only left out 2 things that you guys can get started with. Everything else is fair game. The only things I left out that are factual are the names of Anne Bonny's parents, that's the father and his mistress, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So everything else you can ask whatever you want to. I do want Haley to use her REM pod in here because you're not going to get numbers. If you do, it's going to be from the electrical poles in the corners.
Yeah, it's like it's been 0 except for like 1 random 11.
But with your colors, ask Anne if she'll show you what her hair color is. I am going to steer you guys for 1 more minute. Don't be escaping me yet. There's a reason why I give you guys that heated warning at the beginning, other than, like, I never know what's going to happen. Back in September of last year, I brought my group back here, full group, 8 to 10 people. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost. Like, literally, I have to pick him up by his armpit and take him over to that wall over there. His boyfriend has him by the other arm. I sit him down, get him some water, feeling better. I then tell him the story I just told you. So he doesn't know anything about Anne Bonny. I send everybody out with their devices. They pull me aside and say, Nick, we have to tell you, we are 2 transgender males. Meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story on my tour. So it made complete sense as to why one of them felt faint the minute we walked into the space. It was September, nice cool night. Nope, they weren't overdressed, underdressed. It was just a crazy instant, and it probably took a good 20 minutes for us to get him to really come to. And I'd have to call the paramedics, thank God. But again, just one of those instances where I never know what's going to happen. Those of you with cameras, you can go to the front of the powder magazine. That means you have to exit this lot and make a left in front of those bushes. The only thing I ask is you don't interrupt the other tours. You can also go over and get some footage of the cemeteries if you'd like. The one with Sue Howard Hardy is across the street. Again, don't interrupt the other tours. I'm actually going to go over there by that wall because you guys all know what you're doing by now, and then I'm going to start bouncing around with all of you. And again, this is a hit or miss. We're either going to have a lot going on or nothing going on. But we did have church and God and all kinds of stuff that you guys are. Now you have guns.
Yep. That's true. Just now popped up.
All right, let's spread out and have some fun. This is our last stop. Let's do this.
Someone's got a light.
Someone had a light.
Yeah.
There's like a green
yeah,
light.
there's a tour guide that uses like the super
Yeah,
laser.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they point out because the tower does, like the steeple does lean based on that big earthquake that we had, so it leans to the left. So the tour guides like to tell a story like it leans left because that's Calhoun is on the left side of it. Like, whatever. I can't get down with politics.
Is he related to? Is that the same John C. Calhoun that at Clemson? Is that the same Calhoun, or is that a different Calhoun? The Calhoun that you were talking about?
So John C. Caldwell Calhoun is buried right
over
here.
there. Yeah.
So
he was the founder of Clemson University.
Yes.
Yeah. I worked there for like 3
You
years.
said he was there, and I'm like, no, he's buried there.
No, yeah, they have like they thought
the
he was
memorial.
buried there, but they have like a memorial for him, I guess.
Well, to take it a step further, not to steer you because I know you want to go film, we actually had a monument of him over at Marion Square. That was taken down with all the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, no, same. That's what Clemson's trying to.
But there was
fix.
a time capsule in the base of the monument. This monument was huge. Like, it was 100 feet in the air.
Yeah.
And it was made out of granite, the whole nine.
Yeah, that's what the one at Clemson. It's like massive.
So they opened up this time capsule. There's a lock of his hair in there. There's money from his time period. There's documents in there with his signatures on them. Like, it was pretty cool. Like, it was a myth around here. And then they actually took it down, and it was like for 2 weeks they're going through all the rubble, and they actually found the time capsule, and they did like this big newscast about it. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So
not a cool guy, but cool stuff ish.
But there's another.
Yeah.
Let me put this the right way. I was working on another project. It's actually a treasure hunt here in Charleston, and part of the puzzle piece to that treasure hunt that's been going on for almost 40 years, my theory had that statue as part of which way to go. So when they took it down, was like 2 o'clock in the morning. My phone's going nuts because I put in a notification for Calhoun Monument, and my wife's like, they're taking it down, aren't they? I'm like, they are.
Yeah.
So we were down like a month before that when we knew it was probably going to all go down because of what was happening around the world.
Right.
To start taking pictures and get everything we needed, you know, for this treasure hunt, because that's the only way we can prove where we think this treasure is buried. So again, I'm involved with a lot of weird shit. So you're like, wow, this guy's weird.
No, I forgot that he's actually buried here because they tell you that on the Clemson Cemetery tour that
His
he's buried
mother
here.
actually has 2 memorials here, because she is from here. So there's one in some neighborhood. I've never went to go find it, but the other one's at Washington Square. So she actually has 2, and the reason why there's one in a neighborhood is like by somebody's driveway is because apparently that's where she was killed. So again, he left, he went back to Columbia and then tried to come back and find her or something. Some crazy mess went on, and he heard from a neighbor that that's where she was killed, was right there. So they put a memorial right there. It's supposed to be just like one little stone or something, but again, it's pretty old. Have you heard anything before I set you guys free?
No, not really.
Okay. It's
Not
not
yet.
an easy task.
No. Thank you.
So, yeah, don't interrupt the other tourists.
Okay.
I think it's more like the third guest getting
Okay. So we were wanting to know her parents' names and the name of the ship.
Yeah.
What were the parents' names? What were your parents'
I'm trying to upload it.
names? Yeah, we'll do it.
Nerd guy. I think the nerd guy. That was your the big brown guy looks like my phone.
Here.
What were your parents' names? Can you tell me your parents' names? What was the name of the ship?
Where do you want to go?
You go.
You want to go around
Yeah,
to...
that way. What was the name of the ship?
Where are you talking? Right here. The first level. No, I'm actually in the church line. Oh, you're in the church line? Yeah. You didn't talk to the church? No, I didn't talk to the church.
Justice?
Have you ever heard of talking to the church? You do.
What were Anne's parents' names?
Oh, do you want to go this way and let them...
Really? Yeah, there's a pirate museum in St. Augustine. It's actually really cool. I was just there.
I was living on a prayer too.
Living on a prayer.
And I heard God has the power, right?
Yeah,
When I
it
was
was
looking
like-
up at it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lots of religious temples.
Oh, look, God.
Oh, I heard heaven.
You can't make this stuff up,
Look.
guys. Like,
Yeah, we got heaven.
Her Jesus just now.
I'm just going to write down multiple religious terms.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot.
That is. That's what it's actually saying, God.
Alright, so a lot of tours like to cut through here, so I'm going to have you guys just circle in a little bit further, closer to me. And then we had N over at Philly, right?
Did you say hi?
Yes.
Anything else show up after that?
No.
Let me know what does. Alright, so I'm sure you guys noticed all the different tours walking around. So this
Another N.
Another N. There's actually 3 different nicks that are relevant to this location. Me being one of them, and then there's 2 more. And they were both judges. So we'll get into that in just a minute, but I'm curious to see if any other initials show up. We did get his initials last week when I first got that. I was super stoked. But all the other tours, they're here. There's like 15 stories around this corner. So again, it's a very popular spot, which is why I bring us way over here. We're going to be investigating all over the place, but I like to show up at least why all the other tours are going across the street. It's their big hurrah, like it's their final story that they tell, and it's their one piece of evidence. So I kind of let them have it, but I still tell you guys what actually goes on over there, just because it is kind of especially with the group that we have tonight. You guys seem like you're like, oh, tell us more. What we got? So there's 2 different sides to the cemetery. So the St. Philip Cemetery, which you guys were all taking pictures of, that side over there against the church is a graveyard. So that's for native Charlestonians only. If you're from here, you can get buried over there. For example, both Charles Pinckney's, the husband and the nephew, not the son because he's at St. Michael's, those 2 are across the street because they're from here. So again, sometimes we get things relative to Charles, but this side over here is for everybody else. Your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, is on the other side of this wall. His sarcophagus is above ground, and they actually did move him several times trying to figure out if he was actually from here or not. Turns out he's not from here, he just lived here a long time. But they did shuffle his ass from his sarcophagus back and forth several times. I want to say it was at least 3 times. I know, kind of a weird story, but we all tell it. In March, I talked more about Calhoun because he died in March and he was born in March. So we do get a lot of things wrapped around Calhoun over here. Just by standing next to his gravesite, you know, we do get a lot. But all the other tours are going to look at one little sign inside that gate on the graveyard side because it reads, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason. Of course there is. 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Now, we just talked about initials with Ralph over there in Rhode Island. So Sue Howard Hardy, SHH. It's cheesy, it's campy, I hate even telling you, but it does show up all the time, especially when I'm talking about her. She died 6 days after her stillborn child. Very sad story, but in 1987, a local photographer captures a full apparition over her grave of a woman wearing a shawl. He can't figure out what's going on with this picture. He sends it to Kodak. Do I have to explain what Kodak is? We got some younger groups in here.
We know.
We're not that young.
Well, what, 19 and 23 was it?
Yeah.
So I can get your ages, but I can't get your names. Look at me go. Obviously, numbers what I do. But anyway, Kodak doesn't know what to do with the photograph either. So for guys like me, this thing is like gold. Like it's literal proof. However, it is cursed to females. So sorry, ladies. I am going to show you the picture. Just don't touch the tablet. Going to get the same symptoms even if you handle it in a digital sense like a tablet or your phone that we talked about at the beginning, the headache, the nausea, the dizziness. So pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the stillborn child. I'm not going to be the guy where somebody accidentally touched my tablet and 9 months later I cursed your family. So again, I just ask it. I mean, it is a cool photo, you guys should see it because it is an actual piece of evidence, but it can't be proven because of course the paranormal world doesn't like to call anything proven as far as what that goes on. So, with that said, this is the full picture that he took. Your apparition is right here. She's praying over her own grave, and there's a baby basket next to her. And this is probably the same type of instance where the baby's buried with the mother. I did go through the church records, and I can find no record of a baby Hardy or a baby Howard. So again, that was her maiden name and then her last name, her married name, because her husband's name was Gaston. So again, I was even trying to find out where these folks live so I can take you guys there and have kind of a leg up on all the other tours.
Church.
We're on Church Street on top of that. So this is the full picture.
Oh.
Shoulders, top of head, baby basket next to her. Even when you zoom in further, like say on a computer, you can even see the weaving of the basket. Like it's detailed. Wow. It is. Pretty crazy stuff. So you can see like why he would send that in to Kodak, trying to figure out what the heck was going on with my photo. In the event that something pops up in where I have to give you a link to verify like what's going on with your data, I will always put warning first photo if in that link the photo is in there. If it's just relative to Sue's birthday or death or something in those lines, and the picture's not there, it will not say warning for this photo. So kind of keep that in mind. You guys got to imagine I do this for a living. Like, I'm not about to start cursing folks. So we are here for a specific reason. Pirates. Let's get down to it. It's because Austin brought on his pirate shirt tonight. I'm very proud of it.
I did.
So
You get it.
we're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. If you're not familiar with earthquake bolts, because that's what those are basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn those turnbuckles and it's supposed to straighten the building back up to help eliminate any of the damage that it took on. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring this up is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. Why? This is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this is a familiar building to Anne Bonny when she came to Charleston to start her pirate career. So, it's kind of like using a toy to attract a child roast. Okay, you might want to watch with the filming. We got some people walking by. They might be going to their Jeep. Now, again, that's the reason why we're here. But I do like to tell you a little bit more about the powder magazine because it'll make a whole hell of a lot more sense. The Charlestown walls that I brought up earlier when we were at Lodge Alley, those walls stood right where that garage is right now. It went up past the powder magazine and started going south towards the battery. It locks the powder magazine, which is holding gunpowder, in the corners of the wall on purpose, 3 blocks away from the water. In the event it gets attacked from a pirate ship or Revolutionary warship, that cannonball is going to have a hard time making it this far. If it does, those walls are 32 inches thick. It's going to have a hard time penetrating the wall. We're all going to pretend that it did. It's going to go through and blow up the gunpowder. There's sand underneath the shingles of that building that was put there during its construction to go up in the air with the explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. It's another great idea, but that doesn't work either. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery, got hit, stand up, building burned to the ground, doesn't exist anymore. This one's just never been attacked. It did serve in 7 different wars and 1 rebellion, and that does include the French and Indian War and the Civil War. So that's why we're here. Let's talk about Anne Bonny. You guys ready for pirates? This gets a little crazy. So, a couple little twists in the story, so try to follow me. I do get a little animated with this one because this is your big hurrah. 1708 is when our story begins, right in the middle of this building's construction. This building, first off, took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. But 1708, young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She's with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? I slowed down on that part because it can get a little confusing. The 3 of them are running away from his wife. How angry was she that she got to leave the country by boats to land over here? Yeah, just saying. They land in Georgetown, just between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation, Mom died pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Anne, back home in Ireland, kind of a badass chick. She actually killed one of her servants when she was 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. I'm just putting that mentality of this young lady, because obviously she's going to turn into a pirate, in the back of your brains. So, fast forward, building's done in 1713, pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love because she wants her freedom, just like a man. So, the guy she falls in love with, guy number 1. I'm going to keep tally, there's a handful. James Bonny. You already see where this one's going, because you know her name's Anne Bonny. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica, they get married. Anne Cormac, now Anne Bonny. You get it. When they get down there, this guy is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This is not who she wanted. And that guy just hit the wall. Wow. Yeah. Definitely a Friday night.
I did get an S. Since we were talking about spies.
Yeah, that's
That's
kind of a
stretch.
stretch. It's a big stretch.
Say when you hit the wall.
He hit where the original Charlestown wall used to be. No, I'm kidding. So, because this guy's a spy, this is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the person they based your Captain Jack Sparrow Disney character off of. Yes, everybody perks up whenever I say that. Like, oh, now we have relevance. So, Jack does have his own ship and wants to be part of it. Can't have a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
Bad luck.
Right. Can't put a girl on a crew because they're bad luck. A lot of people think, I had one girl answer one night, she's like, rape? I'm like, really?
That's exactly
That was, yeah.
that was a little fun. So, anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you could be part of the pirate crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, let's do this, I'm a pirate. Let's put 2 and 2 together, being a female in his quarters, she's probably not getting raped, but she does eventually get pregnant.
Just get SH.
SH?
Yeah. You said SHH earlier?
Correct. I mean, you have two of the three.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's keep it going. That's a good interruption. I'll take that one. Anne does get pregnant by going to Jack's quarters. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Someone's going to those people did not pay to get filmed. You guys did. So again, I don't need lawsuits. Right? Mickey's like, yeah, I get it. So welcome to Philadelphia Alley. This is a very weird spot, very popular for Charleston. It's pretty much a staple for most ghost tours. But I'm going to tell the story a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. You need different details than the campfire ghost story. This place used to be called Dueler's Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So here's what went on down here. Doctor moves into town. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. The doctor moves down to Charleston to prove that he's not after just Amanda's money. So, as he's coming into town, he gets set up by the coachman to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody was walking by. What letters you got?
B and H.
Another H. Yeah, I got nothing on that. Somebody was walking by named Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph because, again, you're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. RI shows up here a lot, and with the new little Ouija board box that we have going on, I'm hoping it's going to start showing up there even more. That's why I got excited when I heard his noise again. So just let me know if RI shows up. I'll stop bugging you. But Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside. I know him. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. But I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, and you'll be good to go. The doctor takes him up on the offer, and they become friends. The longer the doctor stays in Charleston, the more money he's making because his medical practice is taking off. He's proving his point that he wasn't after Amanda's money. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because Amanda's moving down soon. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. I'm just going to tell you right now. I will tell you that I have proof of that whistling ghost, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. The doctor and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see Richard III from Shakespeare, and the doctor and Ralph are arguing over the new actress that was in the play. The doctor thought she was great, Ralph not so much. It gets even more heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly and they go their separate ways. Ralph is from here. He goes to see his friends at the news. You guys see how large these tours can get now? Why I'm reaching down to 10? Yeah. But Ralph has friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Like he's a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. Somebody's going to die. So they come down. They take their 10 paces. They turn. The doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. So, Ralph has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor, and the doctor drops to the ground, and he didn't die either, but his friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he died 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. You have to remember this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out this bullet himself. So, the campfire part of the story is that as you walk through there, and you have a voice recorder, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. I will tell you, over here, with us using all the spirit boxes we're using, we will get songs that specifically have whistling in them. Guns N' Roses' Patience, Maroon 5's Moves Like Jagger. Like, these songs show up specifically on the whistling part of that song over here. Happens all the time. We will also get the word whistle, which is not something you would normally hear on the radio unless it's a news station talking about a whistleblower. They also say you can hear gunshots, but I don't have any evidence of gunshots down there. I will tell you that I do have some evidence of the actual whistles, as I used to take my groups through there a long, long time ago.
K twice.
What did you say?
It selected K twice.
K twice. Let's see what happens with that. Now, I will tell you, if you're going to go down there with your own voice recorders from your phones and try it out and listen to the recording later, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. So we end up there at the next corner. My car is over here. I have to pass it. If my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. It's just something us locals do all the time, especially since I got booted out. And you're very curious on how I got kicked out of there, because she keeps laughing every time I say I got my ass in trouble. So here's how I got in trouble. This alley didn't go all the way through. So the bricks on the other side are older. They are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There is a full handprint and fingerprint swipes at the end of this alley. And I would always show them off, because I'm sure you guys figured out by now I'm all about the history, that I was showing how far we've come away from slavery. It wasn't a matter of like, hey, let's check out and see if there's a ghost, because I treat those bricks the same way I do a grave. That kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. So, one night, November 26th of 2020, yes, a very specific date, my entire group of 10 decided they were going to huddle around that brick. It's outside a gentleman's dining room window. They're trying to get a reading in Spirit Box or EMF or something like that. Well, we come out screaming. He's not a happy guy. My daughter thought it was great. She was on the tour that night because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. Now, the next day was Thanksgiving, so I didn't have a tour. I worked in retail for over 20 years. I'm sure you guys can understand why I took Thanksgiving off. So I didn't have a tour that night. The next day was November 28th. Remember that date. I get a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway like everybody else, or to reroute my groups. So I decided, again, not fair to you guys, we're going to reroute. What I told my group that night was that I did not believe the story we were about to go talk about, but we're going to see what happens and kind of wing it. Again, didn't have all the crazy gizmo that you guys have now, still building up the kit, but we winged it. Before we left, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I was like, okay. I did not tell them that we were going to be investigating the famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I was like, maybe there is some legitimacy there. And I had been there dozens of times. We get up there, I told what little bit I did know about pirates. I'm a vampire guy. Pirates were not in my wheelhouse at all. So I basically told them what I knew, and then somebody else hears the number 300. What I came to find out through the research was that we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I keep taking you guys back up there in hopes that we're going to find more things to Anne Bonny. What I will tell you is since that day, I have read more books on pirates than I've ever wanted to read in my entire life. So trying to find facts around pirate lore is a very difficult task. So if anything, you're going to learn a hell of a lot of things about pirates that you never knew in the past. But I will tell you it is a hit or miss. We're either going to have a ton of information coming through or nothing at all. It's just the way that space works. So let's head up to that space. Did we get anything on our word list at all while we've been standing here?
Now it says join. It did say opera. When you talk about the play, opera.
But it was Richard III, so it's definitely not an opera. Anything else? Yeah, I don't know who the hell Katie is.
I heard President twice.
Yeah, and I
Elijah.
heard Ralph when we were in the parking lot, but I just thought it was my grandfather. My dead grandpa was named Ralph, so I just thought, yeah.
And that was back at the Pinckney Mansion.
That was at the
site.
parking lot,
Okay.
yeah.
And anything coming up out of yours?
I got an N.
That's actually relevant based on where we're going. I'll see what else comes up out of that, so I'll keep an eye on it. N's actually very cool. So, all right.
Do you want us to keep recording?
That's up to you. Cool. We're going to be in the next parking lot.
You want me to turn it down or turn it up?
Well, parking lot.
You can go up while we're walking.
Okay. Dead grandpa.
So you guys can appreciate that. Especially with the size of the curves they have.
I heard Gangnam Style.
Doesn't sound good down there. During the middle of July and October, like, you can't find a corner down here. normally doesn't get any better than that. You get the nice wet steeple, make it look older.
Just one second. Thanks, Bestie.
Send them to me. Got my hands full. I just pulled my own out. No, I did it.
See what we got going on in this space. Definitely make sure your camera's to the left before you hit that record button, Dave. You're on it, perfect. Alright, REM pod off. We're only going to be using the numbers in here. Just because, again, it's pretty noisy for the hotel. So, you guys need to cut through? Guess not. So welcome to Lodge Alley, everybody. Well, I guess first off, what did we hear on your names? Any phrases that popped up that I need to be writing down? Issue?
Wait, what did we hear?
Interesting. Erica, did you get anything on yours?
We heard, what was it about the Bible? There's a message in the Bible. We heard that.
Yeah, first of
And
the
worship
three.
God together. First of the three.
That's
I think I got
actually very
anything else.
interesting.
And Don't Stop Believin' by Journey has popped up a few times.
Yeah, there's not many lyrics in that song.
Yeah.
It's kind of like hearing Staying Alive. I think there's 2 lines in
I'm
that
saying
song.
fame now, but I'm not happy.
Fame? Interesting.
I
Anything?
didn't show much.
Nothing at all? Alright, so let's kind of talk about why we're here. And it's weird, the first of the 3, like I want you guys to keep that one in the back of your brains because that's an odd one. So when we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, where we got kind of caught up there at the streetlight, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. We're inside the inner walls that Charleston used to be made up of. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. So that's why I asked you all for names. I normally hear a commonality of 2 names, and sometimes a 3rd name will pop up. The 2 names that I normally hear are Benjamin and John, and it's not me hearing them, it's you guys. That's why I don't tell you what the names are. Now, John's a very common name, and yes, there were 4 different Johns that lived down here during a 60-year time span. John likes to give us his last name, Johnson. Yes, his name was John Johnson. We get John, Johnson, and Benjamin all in the same evening. Every once in a while, we'll get a 3rd name. The name Jane will pop up. Now, what's significant about all these people? Don't be too impressed that I have the full list of names of every person that's ever lived here, because there's really only like 2 to 5 people that lived here at a given time. Benjamin, John, and Jane all lived here in 1801. I have nothing else significant about these 3 people other than the time period that they lived here. Here's why this is actually happening. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These bricks have been here since 1739. When they say, like, the stone tape theory basically states when a rock or something, from the earth has been in the same place for a long period of time, it can hang on to the consciousness of the memories of the things that occurred here. So, here's what we're going to be doing. Haley, I want you to literally pick a dry brick and put your device on the ground. I don't care which brick you choose.
I got 2 peas in a row in this alley.
Well, I want you to watch it to see if any numbers pop up.
Okay.
So I would normally expect a 1.1, like I mentioned earlier, straight from the ground. But the reason why we're doing this is because these bricks are made of granite. They're not supposed to hold an electrical charge at all. I've seen it go all the way up to 15. Signal?
Yeah, signal. Now, when you said that,
Of course.
started doing it.
And we're going to get hopefully another term when I mention something else. What letters are you getting?
The last 3 were PUJ.
I got nothing on that. I'm going to write them down just to be certain, so I can research it in the morning. Any numbers coming up?
0.2.
22. Go ahead and pick it up. Probably not going to get anything. So again, we test it just to see what's going on. Now, there's names that I commonly hear happen about every 6 to 7 weeks. We're in week 7 of that loop that I normally hear those names. I'm not just saying that because I do keep track of it. It is one of those pieces where we didn't get a whole lot this week. We did get the name Ben earlier this week. But again, I didn't have anything else other than Ben's name. So that was just the one piece. We didn't get super high significant readings from the bricks. We got a couple of 2, 3s, and 4s, nothing real significant. But a few months ago, we did get a 15, I think it was a 15.7. out of a brick that's not supposed to have any electricity in it whatsoever. So again, take that with a grain of salt. The other reason why we come down here is because the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge down here. So that's where the alley got its name from, Lodge Alley. We do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons, including the term Illuminati will show up on the red spirit boxes with the earbuds. That's hysterical. Why? Because who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? So again, it's been verified every single time. The other thing about that is we only hear it while we're in this space. On your device, the word symbols usually comes up when I start talking about the Freemasons. Illuminati, lots of symbols, kind of hidden meanings along with that. I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories with everybody, but we do get a lot of weird things that occur down here from time to time. It's also kind of giving you the layout of the land for the rest of our evening, at our last 2 stops that we're going to be going to. I also have been playing with this experiment with the stone tape theory to make sure it's actually accurate to my timeline of when I'm finding things. So far, we haven't had any other significant readings this week. It will restart on Monday. So today is what, Friday?
Yeah.
So I've got 2 more nights where hopefully something will pop up, because I usually run my weeks from Monday through Sunday. And with that said, any other terms show up on yours? Or any funerals that actually happen down here? Interesting. The next space we're going to go to, it's another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through it. Here's why. I've been kicked out. You guys have all the blinky lights and noisemakers, and it is considered residential at the end. So I will tell you the story of how I got kicked out, because yes, it's relevant to the space that we go to after that. But at the same time, trying to investigate a very popular spot, because we're allowed to go to 20 people. I just won't do it. Taking my 10 folks, trying to investigate half of an alley with 20 to 60 people down there, it's not fair to my team. So we're still going to talk about that space outside of the alley and stir some things up, and we hopefully will be getting clues from that space and the next space with a little bit of a bleed over to see what actually occurs. So as I'm telling you the next story, if you want to listen in on your spirit boxes, you can, but just know that I focus on that area because most people will focus on the story, because we're not going to be able to investigate. It's just a matter of stirring things up so we can move on to the last stop. When we exit, both video cameras will stop recording once we get to the street. Again, we're cutting through a neighborhood to get to our next alley, so we don't record houses or cars, same principle. And then again, you're going to be back to ignoring your readings once we hit that street side. So you're going to be back in the game at the very last stop. Okay. So don't get excited when you get some numbers near the building. I'm going to have us all stand by. Did we hear anything? Because I do hear somebody with some static. Is that you going on?
Yeah, it's just music and...
So you had P-U-J, is that what it was?
Yep, and then a W.
P-U-J-W. Wow.
And a Z. W-Z. F. Z-F.
Yeah, I got nothing on any of these. I don't have the list memorized because Benjamin and John are usually the common names, but I still access it when I need to, so
yeah.
we'll kind of see what happens. Very interesting, you just had that whole weird series of letters that popped up. Alright, let's head up to the next crazy alley. Let's see what we can capture up there. You said this is
Let me
not
know if you
like
want me
a
to turn it down and
page
tell
you
the
want
story.
your
Yeah.
It's more like show me your initials. Show me your initials. Repeat your initials.
So we said 3, 7, 3, 5, 7, 9.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna go with.
So am I just looking for anything weird that pops up in purple?
I think so.
Relax.
I got you need to start relaxing.
Yeah.
I think that could be one of my dead people.
Are you there? Can you type yes?
You want me to color purple? Or Charleston. I mean, things I wasn't expecting.
Were you happy here?
Things have been working out since.
It's like
These are my dead people.
Huh?
I think these are my dead people. That would track
Yeah.
for what's been going on in my life.
Yeah.
Like my color blue. How do you feel about that blue
Oh, that'd be a fun dog.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like a solved mystery.
What's your numbers, Mike?
Do you see anything? We saw UFOs.
Carissa? I heard of Carissa.
I didn't catch that one.
They didn't leave any days.
So hard. I feel like I need this.
What were your children's names?
It's only got a little bit. It didn't even hardly show up.
Likes this spot.
I love it.
That's the second time it's gone here.
Franklin Street.
Oh, we love it. Thank you. Yes, we love it. You're right. I never thought about that. A lot of that stuff they do. Like the preachers see, I know that was always. How about skin walking around?
Was that good? It is.
I love it.
What do you got? You got some greens? 0.2. That's no fun. What are we hearing on your guys' spirit?
We heard the numbers we heard were 3, 5,
5,
7,
7,
and
and
9.
Prime numbers.
We also heard you need to start relaxing, and things have been working out since.
Yeah, who just said 3? I just said 3.
And
3?
Carissa. We heard Carissa.
You want to select 3 on mine?
Did you move it to numbers?
Yeah. No.
That's also a yes or no question. I'm just going to point that out.
Oh, can I use the yes no?
No, that was
you
like
either
you
have to
asked a
use-
yes no question.
Oh.
Do you want to? No, I don't.
So
Well,
you
select
gotta pick,
three.
you have to pick numbers or yes or no. You can't do both.
Can you put the number 3 on the box I'm holding? That would be a better way to rephrase it. Otherwise, we're going to get a yes/no out of somebody else's spirit box. Just because one person is asking a question doesn't mean that they're going to get the direct answer. We have somebody else might happen, so it happens all the time. So again, I never know what's going to pop up out of these, but at times I can usually put a full sentence together or piece some clues together. We have a piece of Eliza's birth date over here, and I'm waiting for one of you to tell me that you heard something else relative to that birth date, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, obviously, so that way it's genuine. Erica's like, really?
I'm like, what are those numbers? We heard me.
None of them are relevant.
Numbers, what do they mean?
What do they mean?
3, 5, 7, and 9. They're prime numbers. That's all that means.
That's all that means.
Yeah, I got 12. Yeah, she got a 12 and 3.
When did you get 12?
Just now. A couple minutes ago, yeah. Right after they said that.
Well, there's 2 of them. We got 12 and 28. Her birthday is December 28th.
Ooh.
We'll see if we get the year. Again, these are the things that happen, folks. This is
Please
why
put the year on the screen.
There you go. What do you got?
I got a 9.
No.
Mine's saying day now.
It says what?
Day.
Now it says Camry.
You just gotta poop a number. Just poop a wire.
What's that number?
0.
Poor David over there. He's just filming everything.
Pick 1 if you want me to go to letters. I got a 2.
Okay.
A 3.
Must have been important. He's writing it down.
Pick 9 if you want to stay on numbers.
He's playing the lottery right now, Greg. Did you guys hear him?
Yep.
I'm going through like that automated phone messaging system. Please select 9 if you want to speak to.
Speak to a real person.
You hear anything?
It's not easy to do, is it?
It's
You
all
have to
music.
select 10 for a real
Well, what
person.
lyrics are you
Number
hearing? Can you make out any of the lyrics?
Some of the songs we
Some of the songs we know.
some are like country songs,
Okay.
like Rascal Flatts.
Okay. It's not a matter of who it is, it's about what they're singing.
Pick 4 if you like Rascal Flatts.
Someone's from colonial times, dude. I don't know who the hell Rascal
Good
Flatts
try.
Pick 4 if you think we're rapscallions.
That would actually have been a term.
Amazon, back to school.
Amazon and Back to School.
Yeah, that's wait. And there is a relevance to teaching with Eliza, but it would be a little bit more specific than the word school.
Sounds like you got something.
Yeah.
What did it say?
50 years.
I thought I heard 15. 15 or 50 years? Something years.
You guys making anything out over there?
Middle?
Can I take a look at your word list again?
Sure.
See if there's any. Some nights this thing is fantastic. Other nights, yeah, we might have 1 or 2 terms out of it. Any numbers coming out of yours?
12.6
12?
That's good.
Yes, that is good.
and 11.9.
11.9, 12.6. Do me a favor, take a lap. See if you can find a.
I was going to say, is it directional or?
It's wherever she's standing.
Right here seems to be a pretty good spot for above 10. But
I'm going to tell you that you're still below the average of what I find here on a regular
Really?
basis. Yes.
am I doing a lap of this whole parking lot?
Oh my
Go.
God.
Why don't you go with her?
I want to move. Let's see.
How many kids did you have? Message in the Bible. You hear that? I heard there's a whole message in the Bible.
Yeah. I also thought I heard 3 again.
Yeah. What were your children's ages?
Fight fires?
Know your name? Watch out for the puddles. What were your children's ages? How many kids did you have?
I'm going to pull them back so I can get you guys all these answers.
Father.
Father? Somebody, father? He was killed by his father? Is that what he said?
Alright, so I am going to pull us in a little bit further just because cars like this is the only entrance and exit.
Ah, okay.
So. I'm sorry, I meant to ask you, did you get anything else on yours?
No.
No, nothing at all? Even when you guys took a lap?
Nope.
turn
What's
this
funny
down.
is your device works off of the readings, the numbers that she's getting. So if it goes high, then you should have something popping through. Like that's the way that device works.
Haley told me my questions were loaded.
I always like to explain what these numbers mean that are coming out of Haley's device. For those of you with cameras, you can stop your recordings. So Rachel, yours is going to be the button on the top of the camera all the way to the right, and then yours is the square. That way you guys... All right, so who the heck were Eliza and Charles? They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, by the way, in case you lost track. Now you know why we look for that secondary verifier. We need to know which Chuck we're chatting with. So again, we never know which one. As far as that's concerned, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a huge deal for us, but I hate politics, especially everything that's going on this past week, so we're going to move on. We're going to talk about Eliza. She's got a way cooler story anyway. Eliza married Charles, her husband, yes, married her husband, right? At a very young age, according to today's standards. For you Spirit Box folks that'll be asking Eliza's age at marriage, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14 from the colonial times that she came from. It's going to be based off of today's standards. The reason I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age when they married. Pretty creepy age gap back then in colonial times, definitely a creepy age gap now. Just so you guys have that, inkling of thought of which numbers that might actually make sense. But she married him because her father was over in England, because that's where they're from, where Eliza's from, and he thought he was dying, and he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time so he can see him before he dies. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she got married in 1744. And you don't get married in 1744 over here for a green card, because we're not even a country yet. She did marry Charles out of love. There was no affair there. A lot of people like to poke that bear, but there wasn't there. But she was correct. Her dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her apologetic gifts to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a few hours or a few days. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Vicky, you're the only one wearing it tonight, so look at you. With that said, Eliza didn't know what to do with this indigo seed. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, obviously. She calls her father up after she experiments with it here, moves it to another plantation, and tells her dad, the rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times that helped get our country started. So that's her business, the very boring stuff. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here, I'm sure. So, I know. Look at you over there. You're like waiting for something good to happen. I'm going to go through a series of questions with each type of spirit box, so that way you guys can have at least a focal point. If you want to take any other type of question from anything else that's going on.
His name came up.
Who'd you bring with you? Do you go by Dave or David?
Both.
Both, yeah.
Both.
People call me Dave, but
I mean, it's just weird. So I interrupted. I just thought
It's
that
okay.
was weird.
And that's common ground. Everybody's going to be interrupting me for something. Just, you guys are going to hear stuff. You're going to see stuff. Happens all night long. That's a good thing.
It's weird.
So, we're going to have you go with the children. I told you there's at least one. There
Okay.
are more. You can ask how many kids there were and what their names were. That's it. The reason I'm telling her that's it is because there's a tragedy among those kids. We don't poke the bear. All activity will stop. Are we getting any numbers, by the way?
0.6,
Okay.
0.3.
Nothing drastic yet. So, names and obviously of how many children she had grand total. And obviously you're going to be helping her, so that's actually a good thing. With yours, you have a red one too, right? Yes. So I want you to go after Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. How old she was, where she's buried, what she died from, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, pretty important lady that a president had to take her to her grave. Kind of keep that in mind. Vicky, with yours, you have the word list, and I've seen this come up several times, so we're going to test it again. Eliza, that we just spoke of, is the second wife, 2 point what?
It was 2.5 and it dropped.
Okay, down to 0. That's why they call it ghost hunting. They never stand still. I'll be writing that one down, because you and I are going to converse after all I give all the questions. But she was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. The first wife died in the same year that he married the second one. So 5 months later. Yeah, kind of a creepy move. But also, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Try to figure out which Eliza we're dealing with by asking what her maiden name is, or you can go to the marriage questions. I've seen both of those numbers show up on your device before in the past. So again, age at marriage, which Eliza are we dealing with? Hopefully the maiden name will pop up. With your spirit box, the mansion's not here anymore. because you get normally 1 to 2 syllable words that pop up out of there. Ask what happened to the mansion, and then when did that happen. Obviously, we're looking for a specific date, so numbers will be included in that date. Sometimes we'll get, what's today? 12, so it would be like 8/12/22. We'd be looking for 8/12.
8.
Oh, good. Hopefully, it's going to start escalating. With yours, I want you to literally wait to see what letters we're going to get out of it. Ask Eliza's initials. Kind of take things. Obviously, you know it's an ELP. I just told you that her maiden name was L. She did go by Eliza Blank Pinckney, so that was her full name. So hopefully, if we get an ELP out of it, or CP for Charles, anything like that. If you want to switch it up to numbers, turn the die. Correct. Turn it counterclockwise, so you get to numbers. The only problem is they won't record them for you. You kind of have to remember what they are. Yes, no thing is kind of stupid. I hate it. And then if you go beyond the numbers, it's emojis, which I think is even stupider. Ghosts aren't going to know what the hell an emoji is. All right, so now what do you have? Willing or killing. So have you figured out how to get to the full word list yet?
No.
Okay, the little white box next to the word killing, tap it. It's going to bring up everything.
Oh, okay.
Dave is obviously relevant until pops up. So far, that's really the only thing that would be even remotely close, but we haven't seen anything else of a lost family member to date.
Okay.
So again, it could be just coinkydink at this point, and that's exactly what we'll call it, even though I will take note of it that we did have a Dave on the team in your notes, just so you know. All right, let's spread out in here. Get yours unmuted. Have you found where that mute button is?
No.
No. It's on the right-hand side. It's the only button there.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, right in the center. You got it.
6.2. 10.8.
Oh, see, we're getting some spikes now. You know how many people try to accuse me that I have a button in my pocket that makes these things go off? Happens all the time.
So do we just talk to it?
Talk to it, focus on it, however you guys want to do, whatever makes you comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, that's
Let's
weird.
go in the corner, I guess. Okay, so we say how many kids were there? And how old were they?
I guess so. We gotta figure it out somehow.
Okay. How many kids were there? How many kids did you have? How many kids did you have? How old were they? How many kids did you have? How old were your children? Did you hear anything?
And the first question you asked, I thought I heard 7. So. It's hard.
It's hard to listen to him and listen to this.
Yeah, I was like.
I feel like I should turn him down. I heard 3.
4?
It keeps
I
playing
know that
country
song,
music.
yeah.
Ever since I put it in, it's been playing country music.
Bruise it cold. That's what I got.
What is it called?
Interesting.
Nothing.
Eliza, can you show me the color yellow? You said I could ask it color. Or any color?
Is there a date? Do you want to convey a year?
I think I heard 7 and 9 and 5.
Yeah. Thought I heard 3 as well.
And 3. 7, 9, 5, 3.
So all the odds. 3, 5, 7, 9.
Maybe.
I was nervous about 200s. He was like, anything in the triple digits, anything over 200 is dangerous. I was like, okay. Apparently I'm the leader because I'm the only one with an EMF detector.
I keep hearing country music. I keep
Yeah, I
hearing
know
Rascal
some of the
Flatts.
songs.
Yeah.
Inside the building. People that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. That's the reason why we start here. It's kind of a heated warning. Fingers crossed we're dealing with paranormal activity tonight. I don't know because the ghosts are not on the payroll. I can't make them do anything. However, if anybody starts to feel any of those symptoms, I'll need to know immediately. We're always going to blame weather first. And the fact that you guys are all on vacation and you've been out all day. Not everything is going to be paranormal, just so you guys know. But I still would like to know so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yes, I figured as much. Just you got a like hand up question? Like
No,
you're in
I was
school?
saying okay.
Oh, got it.
I'm Italian, sorry, I talk with my hands.
Perfect,
It's an
fine.
issue, but it's
I've seen
fine.
the hand up, and normally I see
Yeah.
that out of like my 8, 9-year-olds on the group.
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean, I'm
Mr. Nick.
on that level, so it'll be fine. Okay.
Let's not talk about our own health, because that's literally the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night long. So, have you guys been taking other tours around town?
Not yet.
No? Okay. Oh, not this trip.
Not
I'm the
this-
only thing?
Yep.
Wow.
First
enough.
thing for us.
I'll
Yeah,
take
this
it.
is the first thing that we're doing.
I'll take that. Well, first thing for you guys, last thing for them. So, again, it's a final hurrah, or couldn't wait to do this. So, I'll
It's a
take either
couldn't
one.
wait to do this.
We had a big earthquake here in 1886. It's the reason why I asked if you guys have been taking other tours, is because every tour guide in town talks about it, because this is South Carolina. We're not supposed to have earthquakes, we're supposed to have hurricanes. So, this building behind me is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The mantle you see also wraps around the front. A piece of it broke off on the front, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them, and they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street, to my right, your left, in the middle of the night. Now, I said allegedly a lot with that. I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so Erica's not thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, again, that's the whole reason why I tell that story. There's no proof. It's just a good segment. Is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
Oh, you're the first one to say yes. That's,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a weird
let's
one.
do this.
We're actually going to go this way.
I'm going to say, you were fed in water. You should be well prepared.
I
Fed in water.
Here for the
Like a
ride.
plant.
I got my Walkman and I'm ready to go. Like the 80s, should do some power walking.
There was candy. It was great. You have cupcakes to look forward to.
Yeah, there's a lot happening.
Rachel's killing it with our infrared camera. How are our thermals looking?
Looking good.
Good, good.
Austin, you need a job?
He might.
No, I don't.
Yes, he does.
I work too much and make enough. Maybe not for your horse addiction.
Are you still recording on there? Just want to take a quick glance. Are you blinking in the front?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Good deal. All right. So notice my voice dropped over here a little bit. We are next to a stable, basically. So this is a horse barn. They can hear us because there is no glass in there. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here. It's just a matter of like I picked this spot because there were no cars here. So I guess first and foremost, for those of you with cameras, oh my God, Rachel. Am I getting the name right? So Rachel and David. So both of you with cameras, we're going to be in spaces like this plenty throughout the night where there's going to be parked cars and people walking by. People don't like the cars to be filmed, and they definitely don't like to be filmed themselves. They think we're vloggers out here, so let's just be respectful as we're going through each space.
So film them even more.
Nice. So The history here is really simple. First off, this is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. So this is Palmetto Carriage Works. The history here is this is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Keywords here are delivery, milk, eggs, anything relatable to a stable. Let's talk about spirit boxes. We got a lot of them in play tonight. I think there's at least 4 that I can think of that I actually handed out. So, spirit boxes. What is the first question everybody wants to ask a spirit box or a Ouija board?
Are you here?
Are you here? Exactly. That's exactly what I was looking for. Good job.
Thanks.
So, in the event Erica hears no, yes, I'm going to be picking on you all night. If Erica hears no, that means that somebody's here. So we are not going to be asking yes or no questions all night. You guys came here for some kind of paranormal proof. Even if you are a skeptic, you're here, here for some kind of paranormal proof. So let's get it. We're going to get it out of the details. I would normally tell my folks when I'm training them how to use them when we're going to be here for more than 2 minutes is ask questions you already know the answers to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking, because Vicky has a word list, and listening for the word red. However, those of you listening are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us, and the word red might not be available through a song lyric or a DJ. Fire truck, blood, and heart are 3 specific things that are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. For example, what color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good with that, especially if it was a direct answer. Most of the night I'm going to require that there's at least 2 things happening. Another example, to be able to claim that it's even somewhat close to being paranormal. Let's say Vicky's word list has the word art on it. I know it doesn't because she just showed me a disease. So, but let's say it says art. That doesn't mean anything over here. Madison here is the number 40. Am I getting the names right? I got it back.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Well, now you're taller than she is because of the way you guys were standing. That's what threw me off. So, Madison here is the number 40. Together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Does everybody see where this is more like an escape room of putting puzzles together versus a ghost tour? Yeah, because that's how we're going to be using all of these devices together throughout the entire evening. So, cameras, let's kind of go through those real quick, and then with Austin's device and, oh my God, Haley.
Yes.
Yes, aha, I'm getting them down. I'm going to show you more about yours at the next stop.
Okay.
But let's go through cameras real quick. David, you're going to try to do 2 things for us. I know I told you not to film any people, but I do want you to try to keep one of us in view at all times. We're going to be the warmest thing out here. Much easier to find a cold spot if we have a hot spot. So again, it gives you that array of color. Otherwise, the whole thing just turns orange. So if there's only one item in there. Second thing, keep the sky out if you can. It's sometimes going to be impossible. The reason why is that blue dot is looking for a surface to measure. There's no surface on the sky, so it's automatically going to default to the sky. So again, just kind of keep that in mind when you guys are watching your video, that blue dot, if he has the sky in view, it's not because there's a ghost hovering above us, it's because the sky is the coldest thing. Let's see. Yours is nice and easy because we're not using lasers tonight. Slowest movements possible. Does anybody have an open air spirit box? I guess you can kind of like take the extra earbud away from Erica. Right? Well, I'm thinking out of the same party. So,
gotcha.
Okay.
But with yours, because it is just holding it basically exactly where you are, you can help Erica by taking her extra earbud, and the 2 of you can work together. Kind of see how that works out? So I know some of the camera work isn't always glorious, because you never know what you're going to find until you review it the next day, but you can help her out with that spirit box.
Cool.
Same thing goes with yours, Madison. You can actually share your
Yeah,
earbud.
that's your deal. Get people together.
Hopefully I can hear music.
I don't know what to do, but obviously somebody else can help you out.
I'm hearing
with
like a
yours.
lot of
Share
country
your earbud
music.
if they want to. So, any questions specifically about the device that you have?
So the little blue dot is the coldest thing that it's finding.
Yes.
The little blue dot that's going around, okay.
And it'll have a temperature next to it. If I find something, and especially if it's on a shape that can be distinguished what it is, then I will always take screenshots and give you the screenshots and the marker so you guys can see it in motion.
Okay.
So sometimes things are like, because I don't always just stare at the blue dot when I'm spot checking the video. I look for weird cold anomalies of things taking shape. It might not be the coldest spot yet because the camera person moves fast.
Yeah.
So before it can actually grow cold, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There
So
we
I caught
go.
something the other day. I wasn't sure what it was, but we had this weird cold of air like going above a wall, and I couldn't make heads or tails of it even frame by frame, and it didn't look anything like anything frame by frame. So I just gave them the markers of when it went in between. It was a 5-second spot, so it was still distinguishable, so you can still see it moving.
hear
You
it?
just don't know what it was. So very interesting indeed. But great question. Any other questions?
Does my antenna need to be up, or is it good for now?
Not yet. We're going to talk about your antenna.
Okay.
Anything else? All All right, I say we get away from football players and ponies. Is that fair?
Yep.
So that you guys know what the heck you're doing.
Some of us like ponies, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Horse
There's a whole
girls.
lot of history we can talk to ponies
We
with,
got
and they're not
horses.
talking through the spirit box. Any letters showing up there yet?
Just the B when you handed it to me.
Okay, so that means we need to turn up the sensitivity. So we get something out of it now. Have we heard anything out of our spirit boxes? Have we gotten any numbers on our millimeter yet?
Mom just said I don't want to go to work.
You don't want to go to work. Might be a horse talking to us, right? Oh, by the way, thank you for picking a much cooler night. Last week, I swear, I was like drenched before we even got started. This bag weighs probably about an extra 25 pounds with everything in it. So by the time I got to meeting my group, like I would literally be like dripping with sweat. It was bad. So thank you for this much cooler night. Like I told my wife, I came downstairs after packing the bag back up, and she's like, "You're wearing pants tonight?" I'm like, "It's gonna be wet, 73. Like I'm good. Like I just don't want to get soaked." So anyway. Welcome to a parking lot, everybody. Congratulations, you made it. Yes, I told you I'm taking you to weird spots. Now, with that said, there's vehicles in here. You guys obviously seem like we're very much adults in this group. I don't have to reiterate myself about vehicles, but we will not be going in between them either. And that goes for pretty much everybody. Most of these cars belong to employees down here, and some of them will come down here to take their breaks. So just kind of keep that in mind. But where the heck are we? This place used to be something. Of course it did. It used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. Sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. Let me stop there for a second. Spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes and or communication devices, and I am going to withhold information on purpose to make sure everybody here has a genuine experience. That way you're not searching for things. Is that fair? All right. Wow, you recording up just to make sure like the moisture in the air is not going to affect our camera. You're going to just grab by the handle right there, and it does have some weight to it. Don't be afraid of it. There you go.
Look at you. See my face?
Hey. See my face?
Spirit boxes.
On TV.
We're going to be using a lot of these tonight, and they all do something a little bit different. So spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. We'll find why we're out here. You guys want paranormal evidence? It's going to come out of these mainly. So, what these guys do, this is normally the white noise that you guys would normally see on your TV shows and your YouTube videos, right? And then your host is going to put it up on the screen of what he thinks he heard, trying to convince you of the same thing. Yeah, we're going to be doing that in real time. So, a little bit different method. The method we're going to be using is because disembodied voices that they give you on television are a rarity. I only capture about 4 or 5 of those a year. What's funny is I caught one earlier this week, which was super awesome. I was stoked. Now,
It's unfortunate. That means it's not good odds for us.
you never know.
You never know.
I never know. However, these are slowed down on purpose. I'm allowing the radio chatter to come through. That's what we're listening for. So any kind of song lyric, DJ, commercial, anything like that that's going to pop through, it's a 50-50 shot that if we can make out what they're saying, we can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or something going on with one of you. You guys bring dead relatives with you all the time. I never know what's going to come through. And she's just like, oh man.
Yeah, I have dead people that like. So she definitely needs that.
So, the cool thing about Erica, she's going to be the only one to hear it in real time. So she's going to have an earbud in. The cool thing for the rest of you is that it's recording the entire session for you. So I will spot check it, and we'll be writing down anything Erica hears in real time on a little notebook I keep in my pocket. So I'll spot check it again tomorrow morning, not to verify what she's heard, but so that I can find even more. So I'm only going to give you about 15 to 20 more markers of things that I hear, whether it's relevant or not. In the event that it is relevant, I'll tell you why, and obviously give you the link to be able to verify based on our location. So it's already set up, it's recording. Your earwax is gross, so you get to keep these. I
All
don't
right,
want
cool.
these back.
That sounds great.
So little free gift out of this.
Love
You have
that.
to untie the twist tie there, and your
Said yours
volume
died
is
earlier,
right here.
so there you go.
Yeah.
So, and again, you can mess with the volume all you want. It will not mess up the recording, so it comes out even Steven. So that way you're not going to ruin for everybody. I don't know how it does it, but it's why we have it. So, I love that thing.
Can't believe we're talking dead people. I don't know if we want
That's
to talk
when I
about
think you're going to get the next one.
But my grandparents.
Now, yours is not going to
Come
record.
out dead.
So I'm going to be relying on you in real time to tell me what you're hearing so I can write it down for everybody's notes. Is that fair? So, all right. So, same thing on yours. Make sure to set up to the right speed. Your earwax is also gross. Your volume button is the wheel. Make sure to turn all the way down. Do your twist tie and pop one of those in your ear.
Okay, I take my field work very seriously.
Oh my god, Austin. The things I do for my best friend.
The next spirit box, we don't have to listen to it. It's the beautiful thing about it. It's going to give us the words right in the middle of the screen for us, just kind of like an obelisk you would see on TV. So it's going to save all of the words to a list. The last tour I did, which would have been 2 nights ago, had 86 terms and phrases show up. This is a phone app. 80% of this is going to be garbage. So again, it has more terms in it than an actual obelisk. That's why we're getting a better shot. So again, an obelisk, it has about 2,000 terms. This has 9,000. So again, we're rolling the dice on this guy. Do I absolutely love this? This is the first thing that I look at when I'm actually going through your data because it gives me those timestamps of where to watch the video, where to listen to the spirit box audio, that kind of thing. Again, 80% of this is going to be garbage, but the other 20% will be relevant. You'll get the explanation plus a link. So, Vicky, with yours, I don't want to see every word that pops up. I will come to you when I want to see that word list. I did clear out the last tour I did, so we're going to start off fresh. So again, the word lucky should not be on your list, so it'll be the next word after that that'll be the first thing on there. And I'll show you more about that at our next quotation. This one's brand new. Had about a week and a half. We're still playing with it, to be quite honest with it. So, basically, what is this guy? We're working with basically a digital Ouija board. So it has letters that are going across, and based on any EMF spikes that are going to hit from any kind of spiritual activity, it'll stop on a letter and then give us a series of letters. Hopefully, the ghost will be able to spell things out for us. So, in essence, this is a brand new to the market, the paranormal field. The ghosts don't even know how to use this damn thing yet. I think that's half the trouble we're actually having with it, is that we're going to have some weird jargon start to show up. The hope here is that we can at least get some sets of initials from time to time. And so, Austin, I will kind of show you back and forth on how to use this with numbers and letters. So,
Go to one of the girls, that seems fun.
It's all you.
it's all you.
It's all me.
Yep. You got
So,
it.
brand new device. Again, you don't have to do anything. We'll talk about the sensitivity of it and that kind of thing as we kind of roll through the next
I'll guard it with
spaces.
my life. And afterlife, if
And
necessary.
afterlife. Yes, that was my next comment. Let's see. You guys have to, I'm also set up for like a team of 11.
From
So,
that. It was already
That is so cool.
doing Are you saying anything yet? It was just like music. Should I have the volume on yet or no?
that's up to you.
Oh god. Turn
Yes,
it on, see
the
what
answer
you
is
hear.
yes.
Okay, I guess I'll fiddle with it.
Brooklyn, your spirit box is going to work completely different than everybody else's. Yours is going to give us the FM and AM radio stations at the same time. And it's going to try to take out the white noise that Madison and Erica are listening to. So, hopefully, you're only going to hear words out of this. Now, the key thing about this one is you're probably only going to hear about 10 to 12 words total for our entire time together that are actually going to make any kind of sense. This guy is about 75% accurate so far. I've had it for about 3.5 months at this point. Absolutely love this guy. So the only thing you need to worry about is how to hold it. This is the face of it. The speaker's right down here at the bottom. Blinking lights at the top. On your right-hand side is the only button, which is a mute button. I'm going to put the mute button on because we're going to be passing some horses soon, and they don't like the white noise that may come out of it. So again, the earbud piece doesn't work with the auto noise canceling, so this one has to be open speaker. For the reason reason why I'm giving that one to you is so that way, is this mom, dad, kids?
Yeah.
I hate to assume anything. So that way you can hang around dad. It doesn't record. So if you miss something, it'll show up on dad's audio from his video camera. Is that fair?
Which way does she face that? That way?
Yeah, she's looking at all the lights.
So you look that
Oh,
way.
okay.
Yeah, you'll be looking at the
You
lights.
look that way.
You get to carry the bag.
Heck yeah!
Told you I set up for 11.
Right.
So, you guys probably have seen these on your TV shows, right? The little blinky
no.
lights? Yeah, these are, I use those to debunk things. We're going to put that one away.
Okay.
This one is way more accurate. This one we call a millimeter. This is actually going to do things for us in a digital format. The reason why they use the one I just put back in my bag is because it's super sensitive, and if you get a spike of like 20 milligauss, I'll explain those readings later, that it looks super like, oh my god, it goes to super close. Yeah, this one goes way over 200. So again, this is way more accurate. We're going to be using this to debunk and try to find something going on in each space. Anything above 2.5 on the big numbers, I want to know what's going on. You have a second set of numbers at the bottom. That's ambient temperature based on the yellow probe at the top. In the event Dave finds something on his camera, you and I can prove it or debunk it based on wherever he tells us to go. So the last thing that it has is it has a motion sensor in it. Anything gets close to the antenna, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it right now. I'm touching it now. You and I are going to talk about all those weird colors and the different tones at one of our next stops. So for now, just kind of get used to how those numbers move around. All right, everybody's geared up?
Geared up.
Geared
All right,
up.
Austin's in charge. Let me know what happens. No, I'm kidding.
Ouija board.
I got your back over here. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a little.
We'll find something.
I hope so.
So, and I will tell you that the 3 years I've been giving the tour, I've yet to have a night where something did not happen. Now, are there later nights and more active nights than others? Yeah, I kind of rate them, so I kind of know what kind of night we had. And we are just coming off of a full moon, which would have been your guys' tour last night. So we're still at a 99% moon tonight. We're going to give this what's going on the back end, closer to a newer moon. So again, we'll kind of see what happens. I do gauge a lot of that stuff to see how it's going to affect the tour. So, again, you're going to all have questions, I'm sure. But let's talk about why we start here.
Yes.
I'll take a drink, because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to make me talk all night. Isn't that my job?
Yeah.
So, Big John's. It's the reason why I have you guys start here. This place used to be owned by a football player. His name is Big John Kennedy. Obviously, he named the place after himself. So, he played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, because we're using so many different styles of spirit boxes, I slow down on specific keywords that I commonly hear at that space. Here, it's going to be 47 New York Giants. Anything relative to a bar, and the name John. So you guys kind of get the point of that. We're going to talk more about your spirit boxes at the next space. But anyway, John used to sit at the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender of the cadets that were coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys came in. They're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out. They were pretty angry. They came back the next night, and they tried to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John saw what was going on, slammed down his beer, went over and just started beating the hell out of those guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots went off. John got shot in the neck, and the bullet landed behind him in the wall. He gets up after being the only one that's been shot, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor and ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you that a building is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that occurred there. That's not the case here. What's haunting the place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if the new renovation of Big John's filled in that bullet hole,